chosen ones at this very moment. A group of people are gripped in astonished astonishment, their hearts hammering and their palms moist with fear, over a court case that is swiftly spiraling out of control. Piece by piece, their most heinous activities, skillfully concealed transactions, treacherous relationships, and damaging lies are coming to light, providing evidence that cannot be refuted and provides damnation. At no point in history have the stakes been higher, nor has the exposure been more severe. The weight of evidence that screams betrayal causes this group's desperate attempts at secrecy to disintegrate under the overwhelming weight of the facts. As their influence continues to dwindle, their reputations are falling apart. The reckoning that is taking place in this courtroom cannot be avoided. Unchained and unstoppable, the truth has made its way into the arena, and the verdict will reverberate loudly enough for everyone to hear it. Sleepless nights, churning stomachs, and migraines that medication cannot treat are all physical representations of spiritual law at action. This law asserts that everything you send into the world will return to its origin place. Their bodies are a manifestation of the growing fear that they are experiencing. The foundations of their finances are shaking beneath them. Unanticipated expenditures, accounts that are frozen, and resources that are depleting at an alarming rate. Regardless of how hard they clench their hands, the exact money that they intend to conceal from you is slipping through their fingers like sand. It is impossible for them to get a hold of it. Listen to their fights that reverberate down halls behind closed doors that they consider to be secure. Accusation, counter-accusation. The blame game escalates as each individual strives to remove themselves from what they all participated in making. After being united in conspiracy, they are now split as a result, sending messages in a state of terror. Delete everything. Hold your tongue. Their dilemma is made worse by the fact that they deny all knowledge, which creates additional evidence that they are knowledgeable of their crime. Each attempt to bury their traces results in the creation of new tracks that are even more damaging than the original. They are putting on an increasingly laborious attempt to maintain their appearance of normalcy. Their smiles are straining, their laughter is hollow, and their professional calm is breaking under the burden of knowing what is coming. These days, the mask is falling off more regularly, allowing glimpses of the fear that lies beneath it. For an excessive amount of time, they claimed to be the cornerstones of the community, the protectors of order, and the benefactors. They served as models of success, integrity, and righteousness, and people pointed to them as examples. There is a cognitive dissonance that develops as a result of the disparity between this carefully cultivated image and the reality of their behavior, which many people find difficult to reconcile. The truth will eventually come out, whether it be the kind benefactor who discreetly diverted funds that were intended for your benefit, the trusted advisor who purposefully directed you into loss while positioning themselves for gain, or the worried friend who spread toxic murmurs while hugging you with smiles. They were able to turn systems that were intended to serve justice into weapons. As they traversed the legal maze with a haughty familiarity, they manipulated the processes, influenced the outcomes, and distorted the facts. They assumed that because they had a thorough comprehension of these systems, they were immune to other systems of the same kind. As these identical systems work against them with systematic precision, cosmic irony suddenly shows that they were wrong throughout this entire process. There was a raw, irrational, and devouring jealousy that was growing beneath their attacks. Their anger was fueled by the fact that they saw your light, your tenacity, and your ability to rise despite the efforts that they had made. Your genuine power brought to light their spiritual deficiency. Your natural gifts made fun of the advantages they had purchased, and your genuine connections brought to light the hollowness of their strategic alliances. Documents are now coming to light, including emails discovered from servers that they assumed had been wiped clean, conversations captured by individuals who they believed to be loyal, and financial traces that they believed to have been sufficiently disguised. The organized character of their effort against you is made abundantly clear, and this realization cannot be refuted. Multiple parties, a variety of strategies, and a large amount of money were all directed toward a single target, you. The scope of their efforts reveals the threat that they believed you constituted simply by existing in your real power. Even though they denied it publicly, the fact that they responded in such a disproportionate manner is evidence that they realized the authority that you have. You are here for a reason. If you feel the call, answer it. Click Join to unlock exclusive content, deep insights, and a powerful community. This isn't just a membership, it's an awakening. Step into your divine purpose. Join the chosen. Take a look at the pattern that has been revealed. Systematic isolation, which involves removing potential supporters from your orbit by means of carefully crafted narratives. Strategic undermining of your financial foundation through the manipulation of opportunities and hidden obstacles. Calculated attacks on your credibility at precisely the moment when your voice began to strengthen. Their network was exposed, consisting of individuals who were connected by mutual benefit and shared vulnerability. Each member was compromised to the extent that they made their loyalty through terror, and each individual was offered just enough advantage to assure participation. The hierarchy of their operation is exposed, ranging from masterminds to willing players, with legal documents holding signatures that are questionable, dates that do not line, and provisions that contradict the goals that have been formed. With each new disclosure, the paper trail of manipulation becomes more distinct. What should have been yours was diverted. What was intended for your advantage was intercepted, and what rightfully belonged to you was dispersed around their group. You are becoming more and more centered as they continue to spiral into an increasing state of panic. The contrast could not be more striking. Their frenzied activity contrasted with your rising quiet. Their desperate tactics contrasted with your genuine presence. Their fragmentation contrasted with your integration. Not only do you find freedom from their schemes, but you also find liberation from the need to seek their acceptance, recognition, and validation. Freedom dawns within you. It is revealed that they possessed no physical substance other than your belief in their reality, which is revealed by the dissolution of the links that they exploited to deceive you. The unfolding of this circumstance is orchestrated with flawless precision by divine timing. It is possible that essential components would have stayed concealed if these findings had been made public earlier. Yet, if they had been made public later, irreparable damage might have been caused. The mechanism of the cosmic clockwork operates with a high degree of precision, revealing the truth at precisely the correct moment when its influence is the most all-encompassing. Others have taken note. Observers who were previously influenced by narratives that were produced are now questioning what they believed they knew. Those individuals who had been standing by in a state of uncertainty suddenly come forward with information, with support, and with an acknowledgement of what they had seen but were afraid to identify. Your vindication will not come about as a result of your insistence, but rather as a result of the unavoidable appearance of truth that has been repressed. Your position increases without any effort on your behalf. There is no need for defense, when the universe itself takes responsibility for your vindication. There is no need for debate when truth speaks with deafening clarity. And there is no need for pursuit when what is yours returns driven by immutable spiritual law. Stamps and official seals are used to affix documents that alter everything. Cases in court that are constructed on fabrications fall apart when they are examined. Instances in which statements made under the threat of perjury contradict narratives that had not been challenged before. Once it has been perverted against you, the machinery of justice will eventually realign itself with its actual purpose. It is impossible for lies to compete with the momentum that truth possesses. When it is started in motion, it begins to acquire force, which allows it to break through boundaries, overcome obstacles, and sweep aside resistance via the sheer power that is inherent in its nature. Something that starts off as a trickle eventually turns into a stream, then a river, and finally a flood. Dams cannot be constructed at a rate that is sufficient to contain it. In comparison to their fear of legal repercussions, their fear of exposure is much more intense. Having their carefully crafted personalities torn away and their acts analyzed in the harsh light of collective judgment is something that terrifies them beyond all reasonable comprehension. The prospect of standing naked in the court of public opinion is terrifying to them. It is now positioned to become the measure of their collapse, and the very social standing that they used as a weapon is now poised to become that measure. If you've been touched by God's goodness, don't keep it to yourself. Click Super Thank You and sow a gift of $20 or more to help spread His light. Your giving becomes a ripple of grace, blessing hearts and building His kingdom. Let His overflow pour through you. In spite of provocations that are aimed to lure you into their chaotic frequency, you should continue to maintain your higher vibration. In an effort to bring you down, they will fight you in battles that are fought with weapons that are familiar to you on land that is also familiar to you. Oppose it. Due to the fact that your power operates on an altogether different level, their strategies become obsolete when you choose not to engage with them. Put your faith in the emerging process without insisting on having control over its schedule or its procedures. Not often does divine time coincide with human impatience. For example, forced fruit is devoid of taste, and rushed justice is devoid of fullness. Give the cosmic machinery the freedom to operate at its own ideal pace, keeping in mind that what may appear to be a delay is frequently actually a crucial preparation. The return of abundance, which may include resources, reputation, opportunities, and connections, does not come as a form of recompense, but rather as a form of restoration. These components have always been under your ownership. The fact that they have returned to you is more of a form of correction than a reward. By reorganizing itself, the cosmos is able to reflect the truth rather than the manipulation of it. Acknowledge the ways in which your spiritual fortitude protected you when your material defenses were ineffective. In spite of their most ardent efforts, there was something within you that remained unaffected, and unreachable throughout all of their campaign against you. This unbreakable essence, which is your inner nature, has kept you alive despite their assaults and is now the driving force for your repair. The events that take place here go beyond the realm of personal vindication and into the realm of cosmic equilibrium. Patterns of manipulation, exploitation, and suppression that have been in place for generations are confronted with the inevitable correction that they require. The individual experience that you have is a component of a broader realignment that is taking place across a number of different realms of reality. The forces who are opposed to genuine power have overplayed their hand by focusing their attention on you. Their exaggerated reaction to the danger they saw in your inherent abilities revealed mechanisms that were intended to remain concealed. These mechanisms were techniques that were designed to function without being discovered, and they were systems that were created to appear as natural order rather than artificial control. Having kept their cover until this crucial moment, lightworkers who have been deliberately deployed across the system are now activated. Examine the occurrence of fortuitous aid coming from sources that were not anticipated. Examine the confluence of events that appear to be unrelated to one another in order to establish the conditions that are necessary for complete disclosure. Observe the appearance of strangers who come forward with the specific pieces that are required. An activation of latent codes, the awakening of abilities that have been denied, and access to cellular memories of periods before corruption gained supremacy are all responses that your DNA itself gives. When it comes to this revelation, this revolution, and this restoration of divine order, the very substance of your physical form is a participant. The things that they attempted to influence at the most fundamental level of the material world are corrected at the most fundamental level of the quantum environment. In the game of cosmic chess, checkmate is getting closer. The actions that were prepared hundreds of years ago are now carried out by human actors who are mostly oblivious of the greater strategy that they are implementing. It is the climax of sophisticated divine design that anticipated every possible countermove, and what appears to be random chance or fortuitous serendipity is actually the result of this elaborate planning. As each new revelation sets off a chain reaction of consequences, the level of panic among them continues to rise. Something that started out as a concern eventually turns into horror as they come to the realization that the scope of what is revealed is greater than their darkest worries. Each desperate move that they make reveals further parts of their scheme, which only serves to compound the damage that they have already done to themselves. As a result of the strain, loyalty disintegrates. Those who were unified in their attack on you now turn on each other with cruel precision, presenting sacrificial lambs, shifting blame, and negotiating separate peace at the price of former comrades. As each individual makes an effort to recover anything from the fall, the firing squad forms in a circular formation. Pay attention to their public appearances, including the strained grins, guarded postures, and comments that have been prepared but no longer convince. Watch as their social media accounts are quickly cleaned up, connections are cut off in a planned manner, and positions are hurriedly altered to give the impression that they have always held viewpoints that are different from where the evidence places them. When they are awake, their nightmares come to life. Situations that they had previously written off as inconceivable are now playing out in front of them with unstoppable momentum. Plans for contingencies are shown to be insufficient when confronted with the all-encompassing character of the situations that arise. Escape routes are eliminated one by one as the circle of accountability closes around them. This unfolding drama is not something that happens by happenstance at any point. A divine orchestration that transcends human comprehension or human hindrance is responsible for the timing of revelations, the sequence of discoveries, and the convergence of circumstances that brings hidden truth to light. All of these things unfold in accordance with divine orchestration. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull, tap, join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. Through the use of mathematical accuracy, universal law acts as follows. Every action results in a suitable reaction, and every cause results in an effect that corresponds to it. The energy that was directed toward causing damage is converted into justice. The intentions that were concentrated on causing injury are redirected as healing. The work that was engaged in causing destruction is transformed into creation. Their deeds resulted in the accumulation of karmic debt, which in turn accrues compound interest. They continued their campaign day after day, which increased the likelihood that they would eventually be held accountable for their activities. They disregarded every opportunity to stop their attacks, every chance to reduce the impact of their acts, and every warning sign that they ignored. All of a sudden, the cosmic accountant presents them with a bill that they are unable to pay. Observe the symmetry that exists between the offense and the consequence. In the areas where they attacked your financial foundation, their economic security disintegrates. In the areas where they damage your relationships, their alliances break apart. And in the areas where they attacked your reputation, their public standing disintegrates. Throughout the entirety of the resolution, perfect equilibrium is present. The significance of their passive complicity of the situation is brought to the attention of those who observed from the sidelines. Due to the fact that revelation compels acknowledgement, neutrality disappears. Former backers of their campaign readjust their position according to new circumstances. Emerging from unexpected quarters are new allies, individuals who observed in silence but recorded with attention. Individuals who appeared to accept the dominant narrative while quietly assembling its contradictions. Individuals who appeared to be uninvolved while strategically positioning themselves to offer critical assistance at the perfect moment. The pattern that is exposed in your particular circumstance sheds light on comparable dynamics that are occurring in other contexts, which causes a shift in collective consciousness. An individual's experience can act as a catalyst for larger realization, for wider awakening, and for more extensive rebalancing that goes beyond the confines of their own specific circumstances. Throughout the entirety of their campaign, they made an effort to assert their dominance over your energetic field, with the goals of defining your identity, determining your value, dictating your options, and controlling your expression. Their basic error consisted on their presumption that they had jurisdiction over your sovereign spiritual territory. You are now able to reclaim every facet of your identity that they attempted to colonize. Your narrative is now yours to write without their inserted falsehoods. Your gifts are now yours to express without their imposed limitations. Your connections are now yours to cultivate without their strategic interference, and your resources are now yours to steward without their systematic siphoning. Establish energy boundaries with complete and utter clarity. Their access to your field should be denied. Their control over your perception should be terminated. Their manipulation of your environment should be neutralized, and their projection onto your identity should be refused. Your sovereignty is non-negotiable, and your spiritual domain is inviolable. Your auric field is strengthening with each passing day, repairing breaches that they exploited, closing weaknesses that they targeted, and reinforcing boundaries that they violated. Before they can approach your consciousness, the bright protective sphere that surrounds you is pulsating with fresh life, which causes it to resist lower frequencies, deflect projected negativity, and neutralize psychic attacks. You are surrounded with divine protection, the kind that is not an intellectual idea, but rather a palpable and energetic reality. Their vigilance is unhindered by physical limitations, their awareness is unimpeded by material deceit, and their intervention is exactly calibrated to protect your free will while assuring your fundamental safety. Spiritual guardians are here to keep watch. They observe every attempt to undermine your rehabilitation and refocus these energies into providing you with the ability to take control of your life. The power that they feared to be in you is now fully revealed. It is no longer confined by the uncertainties they planted, the worries they contrived, or the restrictions they fabricated. The magnificence that they attempted to bring down radiates with an intensity that is magnified by the pressure that they are applying to stifle it. The thing that they were trying to put out shines with a brilliance that has never been seen before. When their greatest dread materializes, it is because the all-encompassing nature of what arises is greater than their capacity to retain. In addition to extending beyond individual actions into systematic operations, personal vendettas into organizational ambitions, and isolated occurrences into established patterns, the revelation goes beyond individual actions into systematic operations. They were under the impression that certain documents had been destroyed, but they were rediscovered by unanticipated sources. Discussions that they thought were secret were replayed through the testimony of individuals who they believed were loyal, and financial transactions that they assumed were untraceable were reconstructed through forensic analysis. The weight of the evidence that has collected causes the architecture of lying to bring about its collapse. The spiritual forces that they disregarded as superstition exhibit a palpable effect through the occurrence of coincidences that are too numerous and too precisely aligned to be attributed to random chance. There is no framework that can be used to explain the coordinated nature of their exposure, because the materialistic worldview that allowed them to be ethically flexible does not provide any assistance. The ultimate truth is revealed with crystal clear clarity. Their power was an illusion, their control was only fleeting, and their victory was a mirage. The strength that looked to be gained from your unconscious permission continued to exist through your involvement without your knowledge, and dissipated upon your awakening understanding of your innate sovereignty. As we come to the end of this chapter, a new opportunity presents itself. When they overcome their challenges, the energy that they had previously used to overcome those challenges is now available for genuine creation. Your attention, which was previously necessary for recognizing their deceptions, is now being directed into making your vision a reality. Your resources, which were previously deployed to protect against their assaults, are now being invested in the construction of what your spirit has always planned. As a result of your experiences, you gain wisdom that can be of use to others who are going through similar situations. You are creating a map for those who will follow in your footsteps by navigating this labyrinth. Your success in overcoming these forces indicates possibilities that were previously thought to be theoretical for consideration. The fact that justice ultimately triumphs, in spite of apparent evidence to the contrary, is demonstrated by the manner in which you have personified the example. Your liberated consciousness speeds up the process of creation. Ideas crystallize with clarity that has never been seen before. Visions materialize with surprising speed, and intentions materialize with minimal opposition. As a result of the dissolution of artificial boundaries, the gap between conception and materialization is significantly narrowing. What used to require years of consistent labor is now unfolding with astounding efficiency. Your frequency is able to transmit over extremely long distances that cannot be measured physically. Those who are sensitive to vibrations that are comparable to yours are able to detect your signal regardless of locations. At the moment that this communication is received, souls that have been committed to join with your particular mission become active.